what your intention is for our time here together. This hour that we get to spend on our mats in our practice. And really knowing, of course, the intention is to go inward. So all of these external manifestations of yoga asana are really branches reaching inward toward the heart space and just clearing the way so that we can see that reflection of our own innately divine nature staring back at us from the heart. With every breath, with every shape. And when the mind wanders, it's an invitation to just gently bring it back to the moment, to the breath, without judgment, without harming ourselves, just an invitation. So let's try that again. Big breath in. And exhale, sighing it out, letting it go. Good. And then we'll begin our practice with an invocation, calling in our guides, our source, honoring the gurus, the ancestors of this lineage. If you know the mantra, you're welcome to chant along with me. Otherwise, just take a moment and invite in your guru, your guides in any way that feels comfortable and appropriate for you. And then we'll move in toward into the asana. Kanda mandala kara yatam yena chara chara tatparam darshitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha Dhyanmulam Guru Murti Dhyamulam Guru Para Dhyamulam Guru Bhagya Shamulam Guru Kripa Hari Om Namah Chandika Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalani Durga Shama Shivaratri Swaha Swaha Namostute Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Ruisho Jai. And when you're ready, just very gently making your way into a child's pose. We'll begin in Balasana. And you both teach, so you know having your props nearby, because we'll flow a little bit, we'll move a little bit, and we'll get to do some yummy restorative as well. You might see some cameos by my cats, so hopefully they won't be too unruly. All right, so child's pose. Maybe knees are wide, maybe they're together. And we have a special invitation, being that we're yoga teachers, when we go to classes. I know for me personally, it's so easy to get caught up in my yoga teacher brain. So the invitation is to let go of that and to just be a student and to just rediscover what we love so much about this practice and really tuning into our intuition, into what our bodies need, what our hearts and our minds need as well. So full permission to just be, to honor. Good. And again, when you're ready, big breath in. Exhale, let's walk the hands over to the left. So the heart is going to drape over or toward that left knee or thigh. Right hand will come really close to the left. Maybe even on top of it. And just breathing. And noticing how that feels as we lean into the left, as we lean into the Shakti, the feminine. Noticing how that creates space through the right side, through the masculine, through that Shiva side. It's not about gender, it's just about that beautiful symbiotic relationship, the harmonious relationship between the two energies. So noticing that, leaning into the feminine, taking another inhale here at the left side. And exhale, very gently bring it back to center, allowing those transitions to be a part of the practice. Noticing how it feels in that transition, how it feels to come back to center. Any subtle differences between the two sides, and then we'll take that to the other side. So big breath in. Exhale, walking the hands over toward the right side now. So now we get to lean into Shiva to open up Shakti. And again, just noticing how that feels. As we come into the physical sensations, notice the felt sense of any emotions that might be here as well. The Bhagavad Gita says that yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. So allowing everything to just bring us deeper inward so that we can connect with what's really going on inside. Another inhale here. Exhale, let's bring it back to center. And again, just taking another moment to breathe. And then when you're ready, very, very gently coming up into our tabletop shape. Of course, fingers are wide, checking in with our alignment. And giving ourselves any support, any props that we might want to explore with, even if it's not something we use, like blankets under the knees or even under the hands. Maybe exploring something different and seeing how our bodies respond to that. And we'll do some very gentle cat-cow. So inhaling, crown of the head, tailbone up. Noticing how it feels to open the front of the body. And then exhale, rounding, bringing it all down. How does it feel to open up the back? So again, keeping with this, noticing, moving with the breath, inhale coming up. And noticing the balance between the opening and the closing of the two sides. Exhale, rounding down. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Twice more, inhaling up. And exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhale down. Coming back to the tabletop, tuck your toes. Inhale, lift the knees up just about 2 inches. So we're in a floating tabletop. Pause. So notice your belly button, pulling all of those muscles in toward it, really feeling that strength. Breathing into that. Big breath in. Exhale, bring it back down, Balasana, child's pose. Taking a moment to just rest, to breathe. Drinking in the sacred pauses. Like we were saying a little bit earlier, so often yoga has become very athletic. Today we get to take an opportunity to just come back to that original intention of the sacred pause, which is really the nectar, the soma of this asana practice, preparing us for meditation. This is the meditation. And then when you're ready, gently making your way back into that tabletop shape. Once again, tucking the toes, lifting the knees up just about 2 inches. Breathe. Taking another inhale. Exhaling, hips up and back, downward facing dog. So making any adjustments that you might need to, maybe walking out the dog if that feels appropriate, letting your hips sway side to side, listening to that inner guru, that inner guide that is our intuition. Sometimes it's nice to come up onto the tippy toes and just let your heels fall down toward the side. So falling toward the left and then toward the right. Really opens that side body. Beautiful. Just take about 3 or 4 more breaths here, coming into your version of this shape, with or without movement. Okay. And then when you're ready, inhale, let's come into a high plank. And just pause there. Notice that core strength. Notice how this might be a little different than when we were in the floating tabletop. Notice how your body works together. It knows what to do to hold you in this shape. Big breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. And again, take about 3 or 4 breaths here to make this shape your own with any movement or stillness. Notice how your body might begin to open up and explore and express these poses a little bit differently. Good. And then we'll try that once again. So when you're ready, inhale, coming into that high plank. Pausing. Feel this. Drink in that nectar. Another inhale. Our exhale takes us back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. And one more time. Big breath in, coming into our high plank. This time lowering down to Ashtangasana, knees, chest, chin. Breathing here. Take an inhale. Exhale, press back, Balasana, child's pose. So notice we're gradually building. We're exploring and creating space in our bodies so that our bodies are honored in a way that they want to do this practice. They want to do the flow. So we work into the strength by simply beginning where we are. Okay. Continuing to build onto this now. So when we're ready, coming into that tabletop, moving with the breath. So everything is a moving meditation. Good. Tucking the toes, lifting the knees up just about 2 inches, floating tabletop. Breathe. Feel that. Notice if the mind is starting to do that thing where it tells us that we know where we're going, so we start to check out. Come back to this. What's happening in your wrists right now? How's your shoulders? Take an inhale. Exhale, gracefully transition back to that downward facing dog. Really feel as the body is moving into this. Good. Take an inhale here. Exhale, coming into high plank. Excellent. Take an inhale here. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lovely. So breathing into that downward dog. When you're ready, inhale, coming into high plank. Pause here. Feel that strength. Take an inhale. Ashtangasana as we exhale, coming down, knees, chest, chin. Good. Pause, drinking this in. This time, come up into a cobra, whichever cobra you want. Good. Now pause right here. We need to adjust and come out of the pose a little bit, lessen it, we can, but just breathe. Lift up through that heart. How does it feel to come into the heart space? How is the breathing? Breathing right into that Muladhara chakra. Big breath in. Exhale, bring it all back down to Mama Earth. Good. Inhale to press up into high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Beautiful. Okay. We'll inhale, come into a tabletop. Exhale, take it back once again, child's pose. Just take a moment to feel. And again, notice how our minds are responding to slowing down. Good. Just take about 2 or 3 more breaths here. Reconnecting with the intention, reconnecting with the breath. Good. And then when you're ready, very gently make your way back into a tabletop shape, taking your time. Now we'll start to add a little more strengthening and lengthening. So when you're ready, inhale, left hand forward, right leg back. Good. And again, noticing that core, noticing the breath, just breathing here. Take an inhale. We're going to build a little more fire. Exhale, knee comes to elbow. So crunching it in. Inhale to reach, extend, expand. Exhale, crunch it in. Good. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, reach and pause. So notice you're in the shape of an arrow. So what is our intention? Our practice off the mat is really what yoga is. So what's our intention when we live this practice? When we live the 8 limbs of yoga? And of course, an arrow needs a bow. So bend that right knee, take hold of the right foot with the left hand, press the foot into the hand, rotating the heart open toward the left, and breathe. It's not quite bow pose, but kind of has that general feel to it. So breathing. Maybe you can even extend that foot up a little higher, press into that hand a little more firmly. Feel that intention. Take an inhale. Open the mouth, stick out the tongue, breath of Kali or lion's breath, exhale. Good, inhale, reach it all back out. See that intention. Exhale, left hand comes down. We'll inhale that right leg a little higher. So we're gonna come into the core a little bit more. So now toes point up toward the ceiling. Take an inhale. Exhale, right knee comes to that right elbow. Beautiful. Inhaling back and high. Exhaling, knee to elbow. Inhale, back and high. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, back and high, pause. Again, just feel that strength. So now we're going to get into the arms a little bit more. Taking an inhale here. Exhale, keep the arms hugging the rib cage. Just lower your heart down toward Mama Earth. Leg stays lifted if that serves you. Good. Inhale, press up. Exhale, lowering down, heart kisses the earth. Inhale, press up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, press up. Once again, pause. And then we'll set that right foot down to the back of your mat. Kickstanding the left leg behind you. Inhale, the right arm high. Ardha Vashisthasana. Good. If you'd rather take full side plank or any other variation, of course, please honor that. And again, just breathe. So, feeling that expansion, feeling your strength, especially as women, feeling our strength, especially when we're connected to the breath and to our intentions. Feeling that Kali energy, that Durga energy within us. We can do absolutely anything because it all comes from within this aspect of our being. One more inhale here. Exhale, bring it down tabletop. Before we do the other side, we'll take about an 8-breath sacred pause. So take either a child's pose or a downward dog. 8 breaths of your own, just time of going inward. There's no rush. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. When you're ready, we'll make our way back into that tabletop so that we can enjoy that series on the other side. Okay. So setting up our foundation first. Everything requires a solid foundation on which to build. And then when you're ready, moving with your breath, left leg extends, as does the right arm. And notice if this side feels a little wonkier than the other side. Not judging anything, just being present with what we're noticing. So again, coming into that arrow, intention. Where do we see ourselves going? What do we see ourselves creating? It all comes from within. It's not about productivity. It's about expression of our own innate divinity. Take an inhale. Exhale, crunch it in, bring it home. Inhale, reach, extend, expand. Exhale, crunch. Good. Inhale to reach. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, reach and pause. Again, connecting with that intention, feeling the strength of your body. And when you're ready, bending the left knee, taking the left foot with the right hand, opening that heart toward the right. Softening the jaw or anything that's clenched that doesn't need to be. Let's take an inhale. Breath of Kali Ma, exhale. Right. Inhale to reach and expand it out once again. Exhale, right hand to the ground. Inhale, left leg a little higher, toes point up. Take an inhale here. Exhale, left knee to the left elbow. Inhaling back and high, moving meditation. Exhale, knee to elbow. Good. And again, inhaling back and high. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhaling back and high and pause. Take an inhale. Exhale, heart kisses Mama Earth. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, heart down. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, heart down. Inhale, pressing up. Last one, exhale, heart down. Inhaling up. Exhale, coming into that Ardha Vashisthasana. Any variation of side plank that you want. This time, left foot is to the back, right leg is supporting us. So when we set our intentions, we set up that foundation with which to birth these intentions into the world, and we create all of this space for all of that to flow through us. So just imagine what it would mean to live from your heart space, to live your vision, to live your truth. And then when you're ready, take another inhale. Exhale, come back to tabletop, and then again, enjoy 8 breaths or so in downward dog or child's pose or any other pose that is calling to you right now. And then when you're ready, very gently make your way into a downward dog. No rush, get there in whatever way feels best for you. Beautiful. Okay. And then let's walk or hop those feet forward in between the hands and come into Uttanasana. Good. And just breathing here, maybe feet go wide. Maybe we take opposite elbows or taking our hands behind us. So of course, lots of variations. You get to do whatever is going to serve you. Good. And then we'll inhale very slowly, come all the way up, arms come up and overhead. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Anjali mudra. Pose of gratitude, of bhakti, of devotion. And when we speak of bhakti yoga, it can look like we're showing devotion to an external source that we might call God or Ma, any other name. But really it's devotion to that self, capital S self. The same self that Krishna referred to in the Bhagavad Gita when he said, yoga is a journey of the self, through the self, to the capital S self. So taking a moment to just place flowers of devotion on our own, the altars of our own hearts. Taking a moment to see, to hear, to recognize our divinity, the love that we are. And then inhaling, arms come up and overhead. Maybe palms come together in Jaya Mudra, the mudra of victory, of celebration. So like Anjali, but over the head. Pausing here, checking in again with our foundation. So toes are wide, feet are maybe hip width apart, maybe a little further if our lower backs or hamstrings are tight. Tailbone points down, core is engaged, shoulders are back and down. We know all of these things, but still checking in. Coming to our practice every day like it's the first time on our mats so that we can explore and learn. Take an inhale. With grace and ease, exhale, folding forward, staying in that love, that element of devotion. Back to Uttanasana, drinking that in. Just feeling that stretch. Good. Let's take an inhale, come into Ardha Uttanasana. So halfway lift, just lifting up through the heart. And exhale, surrender, fold, Uttanasana. Tailbone points up, lengthening through the heart. Beautiful. Let's try that again. Inhaling up into Ardha Uttanasana. Exploring with that length. Another inhale here. Exhale into that surrender. Inhale coming all the way up. Arms come up and overhead. Maybe hands join in Jaya Mudra. Exhale, hands come back into Anjali Mudra. Heart center. Beautiful. Taking that series again. Inhaling arms up and overhead. Leading with the heart. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhaling Uttanasana. Good. Inhaling, arms come up and overhead, Jaya Mudra. Exhaling, Anjali Mudra. Beautiful. Continuing to expand. Inhaling, arms up. Leading through the heart. Exhaling, fold forward, surrender. Inhale to lift, expand, create that space, and then exhale, surrendering into that space. Good. This time we'll inhale, step the right leg back. Right knee is up or down, depending on what serves you. I'm going to keep mine down because I want to go a little more restorative today. Of course, we know left knee's over the left ankle. Heart is lifted, hands are on the ground, or maybe we use blocks. Maybe even if we don't normally use blocks, just today, we treat ourselves because we're not yoga teachers today, we're just students. Not just. That's the best place to be, I think, is the students. And what's so cool is that we get to be students of our own inner guru. That's part of the beauty of this practice. We get to be our own teachers and our own students. And yoga just is the path and the light upon the path. How very beautiful that is. Okay, so we're going to come into Ardha Hanumanasana. So we'll walk those hands back, straightening that left leg, toes pointing up. If there's another version of Hanumanasana, if you want to go deeper into it, of course, explore. The blocks can really be handy here because we'll hold this for about a minute or so. If your hips are tight like mine, that right hip is going to want to pull back. So just encouraging it to stay parallel with the left. Heart is lifted. If it feels better for you to walk those blocks forward and fold over the leg, of course. Explore some variations and then allow yourself to settle in whatever offering of this pose feels most nurturing to your body and your heart in this moment. Take an inhale. Audible exhale, side out. See if you can sink a little deeper into the pose for about 3 more breaths. And then when you're ready, there's no rush, gently make your way back into that low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Settling back in here now, noticing any differences between when we first came into it and now that we've created space and we're revisiting it. Good. And you can stay here with your hands on the blocks or on the earth, or you can inhale, arms come up and overhead. Maybe we take cactus arms, maybe we come back into that Jaya Mudra. Just breathing. So the beautiful thing about Anjaneyasana is it's the energy of this pose is Hanuman's mother. When she knew that she was going to get to have this beautiful baby Hanuman, she secured her foundation. She got herself ready and she lifted her arms up, and out of the heavens came her darling baby boy. And we know that Hanuman is said to be the breath of Ram, the breath of God herself. He's the embodiment of devotion. So we come into this pose, we get to embody that devotion for our own inner awakening and our healing. Let's take one more inhale here. Exhale, hands back down to Mama Earth. Good. Right hand will stay on the block or the ground. Let's just inhale that left arm high, coming into a twist. You can keep the arm lifted or take that half wrap behind you if that feels better. Notice if this right shoulder is wanting to sort of collapse, and encourage that lift. Breathe. Good. And then we'll inhale, that arm comes back toward the ceiling if it's not there already. Exhale, landing that left hand back down. One more time. Ardha Hanumanasana. Walk the hands back, straightening that left leg. Again, notice any subtle shifts. Notice how these beautiful temples, these bodies of ours, respond to the devotion that we're offering to them. Seeing if we can drop that breath down toward the pelvic floor just a little bit more. Beautiful. Take an inhale. Exhale, walk it forward, back to our Anjaneyasana. Now we're going to come into lizard. So just walk the left leg over to the left a little bit more. So hands are both on the inside, maybe on those blocks. Maybe we stay here. Maybe we come onto forearms. Maybe you like to let your knee roll out to the side. So tons of variations, we know them. So embrace the variation that feels best for you, even if it's not what you normally take, even if it's not what we consider the advanced pose, whatever. Letting ourselves come back to the simplicity of this practice and of this moment. So when we come into the hips, this is where we store a lot of our stories and our traumas. Especially if we're creating space where we're being really present with the felt sense, the emotional felt sense. So just notice if there are emotions hiding in any tension that we may be experiencing here. Not judging it. If we feel safe enough, not running from it. But practicing the Buddhist meditation of, and this too. All the parts of ourselves are welcome here in this moment. Few more breaths here, unclenching the jaw, unclenching the fists. So often we see ourselves as being these fragmented, broken pieces. And the truth is there's nothing broken about us because we're divine. Nothing broken about us. All of these pieces, all of these aspects of ourselves are still just as divine as our innate wholeness, because they make up the wholeness. When we come into poses like these with the hips, we have an opportunity to sometimes see and bear witness to our own seeming fragmentation. So all of the pieces, welcoming them like a very loving mother. And this too. All of me is welcome here. Take an inhale. Let's try that breath of Kali once again. Exhale. Good. Very gently make your way back up. Take your time. We'll walk the left foot over to the right side. We're going to come into pigeon now. So I like to put a blanket underneath this front hip. So in this case, the left hip. Maybe behind that back knee or underneath that back knee as well. You might also stack another block or a couple of blankets in front of you to rest your heart on. That can be so lovely and much more of a restorative variation of this posture. So maybe drink in proud pigeon for just a moment. Sometimes proud pigeon is what we need. So we might stay up. If we decide to explore, if our bodies say that that's okay and what we need, inhale, lift up through that beautiful heart, and then let the heart lead you as you exhale, coming down into any variation of pigeon that serves you. Again, we'll be here for a couple of minutes. So let yourself really drink this in and allow it to be a moment of meditation, inner stillness and silence. Just about 5 or 6 more breaths. Okay. When you're ready, very gently start to make your way out of this shape. We'll meet in Anjaneyasana in that lower lunge. Again, take your time, there's no rush. And when you get here, option to inhale that left leg back and high, take a full vinyasa flow if you want. We'll meet in a standing pose at the front of our mats, but take a vinyasa flow or a couple if that's what feels good for you. Take a child's pose. So we'll take a few breaths to just sort of allow ourselves to honor that set on that side, however our bodies need. And then we'll meet in Tadasana. And again, no rush. So when you come into Tadasana, just feeling that strength, palms are open at the side, heart is lifted. Just feel that Parvata, that mountain energy. And when you're ready, inhale, arms up and overhead, Jaya Mudra. Exhaling hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra, coming into Samastahi. And we'll take that set to the other side. So inhaling, arms up and overhead, Jaya. Leading with the heart, exhale, folding forward, Uttanasana. Inhaling, Adha. Exhaling, Uttta. Once again, inhaling, coming all the way up and overhead. Jaya Mudra. Exhaling, Anjali Mudra. Inhaling, arms high. Leading with the heart, exhale, fold, surrender. Inhaling, Ardha. Exhaling, Uttta. This time we'll step the left leg back, coming back into our low lunge, Anjaneyasana. And breathing here. Coming into our alignment, using any props that this side needs. This side might feel different, might need different support than the other side. That's okay. Some days we need a little more support, some days we don't need as much. Isn't it lovely that we get to honor who we are at any given moment, what we need at any given moment, and that these practices of yoga allow us the tools to determine what it is that we need, to be so in touch with ourselves that we actually know, we have the wisdom, and we have the courage to offer ourselves that devotion, to offer ourselves that care, that discipline, that tapasya. It's good stuff, y'all. Sinking into the hips. Heart is lifted. Breath is full. When you're ready, coming into that Ardha Hanumanasana, walking the hands back, straightening the leg, toes point upward. We know that we'll be here for a couple of minutes, so settling into any variation of this pose that feels good for you on this side. Again, might look really different than the other side. We'll take about 3 or 4 more breaths. When you're ready, take an inhale. Exhale, slowly making your way back into Anjaneyasana. Settling in, listening to the messages that the body is sharing with us right now. You're welcome, of course, to stay here, or if you'd like to inhale, take those arms up and overhead. Any variation with the arms that feels appropriate for you. Notice the breathing. Notice the alignment. Notice if there's anything that feels like it's overextended. What is our foundation? What are we willing and ready to say yes to receiving, to creating? Not from outside of us, but from within our own being. It looks like we're creating an outward expression of receiving from externally, but really everything comes from within. One more inhale here. Breath of Kali, exhale as the hands fall back down toward the earth. Making our way back into that Ardha Hanumanasana. Just for a few more breaths, checking in. Notice where the body is saying thank you. Where it's saying, I need a little more attention here, please. And of course, offering gratitude to this practice and the lineage of this practice, that we would even have these tools to be able to tune in and listen. Take another inhale. Exhale, coming back into Anjaneyasana. Setting up for lizard pose, whatever that's going to look like on this side. Balance doesn't always mean symmetry, right? So it doesn't have to look exactly the same. It's honoring, restoring that harmony. So any variation of this that feels appropriate for you, resting into that. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. Almost there, just about another minute or so. Maybe we can deepen the breath. Maybe we can offer our minds stillness by inviting them back into the breath. About 3 more breaths, almost there. One more inhale. Let's try that breath of Kali. Release, let this stuff go. Slowly helping yourself up, making your way into your pigeon. Almost there. The hips offer us wealth of inner knowledge, don't they? So again, you might check out proud pigeon for a little bit. You might come right into sleeping pigeon. Explore, listen. Just listen to whatever it is that you need. Even if we were in the same room together, I still can't tell you what you need. Nobody can, but we can. It's just developing that inner ear to hear our inner guru, to listen to that innate wisdom, and to honor. So resting in your pigeon. Take about 5 more breaths. When you're ready, very gently coming out of your pigeon, take your time. We'll make our way back into that Anjane asana, and then you're welcome to take a vinyasa flow if you'd like. We'll meet in child's pose this time. Take about a minute or so to just listen to what your body needs. Our yogi freestyle moment. Okay. Then we're going to prepare for our final resting pose for Shavasana. So when you're ready, very gently make your way onto your back. If there's any last shape that you want to take or movement that you want, again, give yourself about another minute or so to do that. We'll meet on our backs when you're ready. And we'll set up, the invitation is to set up for a restorative shavasana. So I like to put a rolled blanket or a stack of 2 or 3 blankets going vertically up my spinal column and resting there so that the heart can really open. If you have another variation that you like, maybe even legs up the wall. If there's a particular song you want to put on, you're muted, so go for it. If we were in class together right now, I would be playing the Argala Stotram by Krishna Das for you. Okay. And then once you get settled in, and there's no rush, if you're still settling in, take your time. Once you get to where you want to be for this, just place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Take your time. And just feel that expansion of the inhale and the contraction of the exhale. And as you breathe, experiencing that prana. In the Devi Bhagavatam, Shri Durga herself says that she lives in our prana. She embodies our breath. So as you experience your own in and exhale, know that that is your own divinity, whatever you refer to that as. And just take a moment to really connect with that life force as we fade into Shavasana, which is corpse pose, the pose of Shiva, of Kali, of endings, for the sake of new beginnings. And just practice this meditation until you're ready to let all of that go and fade into your own Shavasana. And then I'll bring you out of it in a few minutes. course, if you'd like to rest in Shavasana longer, please do so. When you're ready, just start to take those little micro movements, coming back to the breath. Coming out of that pose of Shiva and into the pose of Saraswati, of rebirth, of new beginnings. We'll make our way into fetal position, either side. Take your time. Pausing here for just a moment. This is where we all began this lifetime. Taking a moment of gratitude for our ancestors, all of those who played a role in our being here, the ancestors of yoga, our teachers, our gurus, ourselves. And then when you're ready, very gently make your way into Sukhasana, pose of ease, easy cross-legged shape. And maybe closing the eyes. Maybe coming back to Chaitan Mudra, where we have one hand on our bellies, usually the left, and then the right hand on the heart, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Reconnecting to that prana, to the Divine Mother, to the Holy Spirit, whatever we call this essence of life, of divinity that we are. The Anahata chakra literally means unstuck. And it refers to the pure sound of all creation. And then of course we know that this sacral chakra, this womb space, this cauldron of creation. So feeling that link between the two, the cosmic creation of the heart space and that ancestral, sacred creation in the womb space. The Chandogya Upanishad says a person is what their desire is. It is our deepest desire in this life that shapes the life to come. So let us direct our deepest desires to know the self, a self that is born of silence and song. So now taking these last few moments to set our intention for our yoga practice, because yoga is what we do off the mat with what we learn and discover while we're on it. So creating our intention to live the love that we are. Fearlessly, courageously, as the mother's many arms, embracing our own selves and this world. Keeping this mudra or bringing your hands back to Anjali Mudra at the heart space. Please join me in an Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. Deep inhale. Oh. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Jagadambe Mata Ki. Jai Gurudev.